Chimichilla, Spirit and Coffee. Got my coffee here. Yum. Chocolate pignon coffee. Or pignon, and it's the chocolate kind. Okay, let's get started. So we were talking about the Kundalini, and how the Kundalini can help you. And hopefully, for those of you on Podbean, I'm gonna try to pull the mic up here. Let me fix myself. So that hopefully you guys can hear me better than yesterday. On the Podbean. Hopefully it's not as muffled. So here we go. Kundalini, what does it mean? How do we practice it? What is Kundalini? And how can we support ourselves with the breath of life, right? Which is what Kundalini is. It's really the connection to our stellar self, higher vibrations, that kind of thing. And how do we connect to it? Well, we've done it before. Good morning, those of you on here. We've done it before. If I don't see you, please say good morning. I don't know who's on here. It's not showing me. It's a guy could say good morning. Sometimes we have these spiritual epiphanies, or epiphanies, a connection to something greater, grander, better, whatever than we are, right? We can feel it inside of us. It's divine, it's beautiful, it's big, I don't know how to explain it. It's peaceful, it's tranquil. People who have had near death experiences talk about it all the time, and they feel a real sense of peace. Well, that connection is the what they call Kundalini energy, right? And so um, we're going over the chakra systems now. The nadis are the centers in the body, they're glands in the body, and the body releases hormones or secretes hormones in the body. Um, and that really is huge to how we operate and function in our body. Now, body is an interesting thing, not an easy vessel to understand. Good morning, Reggie. Oh, thank you for the little coffee thing. I like that. Some of you people get on here. I could feel your personalities through the actual through the video and through the podcast. Good morning, Smokey. Good morning, Angie. You put that coffee cup up there, and then I just had to take a drink. I was like, yeah. Okay. So here we go. So we're reading this essay that somebody wrote, and based on what he was, and I like the way that he writes. Sort of sounds the way I write, so that's probably why I like it, because it sounds like me. It sounds like something I would write, and that's cool, and that's awesome. Okay, so here we go. So there are the 7 chakras, right, in the human being. The chakras link directly to the higher energy of God or God. They're located in various areas of the body. For instance, there's a chakra at the center of the forehead and the throat, and then the heart, below the navel, sexual area, base of the spine, crown of the head. And he's saying meditation can strengthen the chakra systems. The question always arises, what do you have to master? The answer is simple: a chaotic mind, emotions that are quicksand, sexuality that transforms us into a horny or repressed child who can't deal with his energy so intense it wreaks havoc in our daily lives. I tell them that meditation is not a religion or a cult. It's simply a technique we learn that helps us transform our attention into spiritual energy. I like that, because what it's saying is that this, like, for instance, this platform, right, is not a religious platform. I'm not religious. Okay. I am a spiritual. I am an alchemist. I am a spiritual alchemist, and I dive into the esoteric wisdom. That's what I do, and I formulate or read information, and I practice esoteric. I'm a spiritual practitioner, so I practice it, right? So I put it to use. So I take what I learn from different spiritual teachings and I put them into practice to see if they work. And then I'm like, that doesn't work for me. So for you guys, when you're reading your religious text, or when you're reading different spiritual texts, ask yourself, do these work for me? Can I put this into practice? What result do I get when I put it into practice? Okay. So, and that what that does is it allows you to connect into your divine self and to your who you are as an individual. And then you have a voice, and then you can speak what you experience, and no one can take that away from you. You're going to have people, of course, who reprimand you, tell you this, you're that, you're whatever. It doesn't matter what they say, right? At the end of the day, it's like, and you're telling me I'm what? I know who I am. I don't need you to tell me who I am. I know who I am. You need to worry about who you are. Don't worry about who I am. Go out and seek who you are, right? And so this allows us to tap into that chaotic mind, our emotions, right? To learn how to deal with the energy in our life that causes havoc. So I was looking at that yesterday, and part of it, I want to go into sort of what's going on right now with all of this stuff that's going on, because I have people, well, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? Well, here's the deal. I have listened to all of the theories. I have listened to all of the information. And the reality is that yes, we can take that information, but what am I going to do with that information? Why does it matter? Should we stay in the why did this happen or why this? No, now it's how. How do I make use of the information that I know to be true for me? Doesn't have to be true for you, but in my from my perspective, the way that I view the world. Good morning, Alicia. And the way that I see the world, right? I need to figure out what I need to do next in my life and the steps that I need to take. How do I quiet the mind? Now, that means stepping out of the chaos, right? The chaos right now is all of the information being thrown in your face, okay, around fear based programming. Okay, so you've got to look at it from two perspectives, right? Because we do live in a duality. We cannot deny that we are experiencing a duality in this realm. Okay, in this particular realm, we experience duality, which is the fear, which is the love. And in the fear based programming, there's no forward movement. All you do is stay stuck in the fear. The fear causes you to freeze. It causes you to flee or fight. Now, it's not that it's bad energy and that it can't support you. It supports me to rise up and to speak my truth. It supports me to get up and be like, wake up, people. It triggers in me the warrior, the fire energy. Is there anything wrong with that fire energy? No, there's not. Let it arise in you, but don't stay stuck, okay? Move to love and harmony. And that's what this is about. In this process, right, of how we get back to what's going to support us in actually co-creating is you're going to go through a slew of emotion, right? And I've allowed I didn't do it on my Spirit and Coffee page, but on my personal page, trust me, people have seen me go through a yo-yo on what is happening. Why? Because I'm authentic to who I am at the moment. Am I always going to be that person? No. Things shift, things change. As new information comes in, my mind changes. It doesn't have to stay the same. Your mind doesn't have to stay the same. Let's just put it that way. If you say one thing today, and tomorrow you get new, or today you get new information that shapes and changes the way that you view the world tomorrow, are you wrong for that? No. Maybe you didn't have all the information. We can never have all the information. We can never have the entire whole picture. We can never see it all because we're human, right? There are parts that we may not be able to see. But as we dive into new levels of understanding, then we start to go through the process. Now, the process that I go through, I'm okay to share with everybody. I'm an open book because one of my principles and practices is authenticity, vulnerability. I'm okay to be vulnerable in front of people. I'm okay to show my true self. I'm okay to speak authentically about what I'm feeling in the moment. All in the name of love, not in harm. As I receive more information, I shift and change out of that. Why? Because that is what the Kundalini is talking about. It's taking all the chaos and allowing yourself to bring it into a focus. and a purpose. Here's one thing I did read. I read that people, especially business owners, are having a hard time because they lose purpose. Because purpose is what we seek. We're seeking purpose, right? And as humans, it's very, very, very. It's supportive for us to have a purpose. The purpose allows us to give it gives us a reason to wake up and live, right? To want to live, to want to create, to want to get up, to want to do things, to want to move around, to want to all these things that we want to do. So purpose is critical. Purpose will help you open kundalini energy. Why? Because it gives you a reason to strive for something. Here's the deal. And I think I talked about Bill Gates yesterday. There's going to be a lot of media around Bill Gates. There's going to be, and I talked about him. And here's the deal. I don't believe the guy is bad. I don't think he wants to cause harm. I don't think he's a sociopath, in other words. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that this person just thinks he can fix things and thinks that he has the answers to everything, and probably maybe a little arrogance and maybe a little bit of pride, like I can fix this. It's the thing is, it's not his job to do. Well, he has a function, let's just say that maybe that's his purpose, and he feels like his purpose is to save the world from disease or to save the world. And I'm not just talking about what's going on right now, because he's trying to eradicate polio, okay? Which has nothing to do with what's going on right now, but could be a part of what's going on right now, right? Good morning, Tiana. I don't think he's a bad person. I don't think that his intention started off like, I want to kill humanity. I don't think that's what it was. I think, in fact, it's the opposite. Here's the deal, though. When you go in and you say, I want to save people, what you're saying is they're not enough. They can't save themselves. They don't have the tools they need for them. Instead of empowering, and I talked about this the other day, empowering the people, right, to come up with their own way of fixing issues for themselves, because being self-sustainable is what's important. We're at a point right now where people need to rise up into their own greatness. That's what's being asked from us. That's what the creator, God, the universal principle saying, get up, wake up, and take responsibility for your life. How? Set your principles. Don't waver in them. And when you have your principles set up and you're able to stand firm in your principle, right? Then you're able to create what it is that you want to create. You're always going to be taken care of, right? Because you have the faith that there is something greater than you that is going to support you. I call it God. It's just easy that way. Okay. A lot of people have triggers around the word God. You can say Yahweh, universe, however you want to call it. And your relationship to that particular energy is personal and doesn't need to be, you don't need to tell people what that is for you. I say it. Why? Because I'm supporting you guys to show you, teach you that you have that same, there's nothing special about me. Okay. That's all I'm going to say. There's nothing special about me. I'm human. I just get on here and talk a lot. Okay, that's what I know how to do, talk. So I share my talk with you all the time. And hopefully, in some respect, you don't have to believe everything or have the same views as me. The one thing that I would hope that you would agree with is that you are powerful. You are enough. You have the ability to think for yourself. That you have these gifts that you can offer the world. That you are love. And that you do have good intentions. That is my only hope in this, right? This is not about hanging on to every word that Natalie says, and you'll hear it throughout. And so I know there's a new follower that comes in comments after. I haven't really read the comments, but afterwards, that if you haven't followed me, I've been doing this for over 2 years. And in the 2 years that I've been doing it, you'll hear that common theme, because I bring myself back to that every time. Why? Because the intention is not for me. It's to love. It's to love everybody, right? Have the love for everybody. Bring them back to love. Remember that you're enough, and remember there's nothing special about me. And this platform wasn't designed for that. It was designed to support you so that you can remember and wake up that you are loved. And remember that you are part of the divine source, and to remember that you can create your legacy. You can. You can create your legacy. Now, there's a lot of stuff to unpack in doing that because we are human and we're so complex. We make things harder than they need to be. So when I say forgive, sounds easy, but in practice, not so easy. It's not so easy. I have people tell me mean things, hateful things, and I get to forgive them. Why? Because it's one of my practices and it's one of my superpowers. I love to forgive. I'm okay with forgiving. And I'm okay. And because of that, I can take in new information and shift and change my mindset. So don't feel like you guys have to be stuck to one mindset. You don't. You don't have to be put in a box. As we receive more information, new information, we change the way that we perceive life. That is the way consciousness works. It is not static, it is dynamic. It shifts and changes. The way that I thought yesterday is not the way I think today. The way that I think in this moment is not going to be the same as the next moment. It's always shifting. And that is okay. There's nothing wrong with that. The opinions that I had last week may be different this week. Is that okay? Yes, it is. There's nothing wrong with that. Why? Because we're receiving new information. The things that don't change are your principles, the ability to speak authentically, to be vulnerable. That doesn't shift. That stays the same and that doesn't waver. Okay. Remember, laws and principles. I think I put up the video. Please watch it. It's a really good video. Okay. The question always arises, what do you have to master? And then we said about the mind. Okay. Um, I tell them that meditation is not a religion or a cult. It's simply a technique we learn that helps us transform our tension into spiritual energy. First, we have to learn to master the energy of the mind, the emotion, and sexuality, and put an end to the war that runs unabated within us from the time of our birth, a war that doesn't allow us to enjoy a single peaceful day. We create our own hell, basically. So whatever's going on for you now, especially during this pandemic, and I can say that some of our hells that we have really feel real. Like for instance, people who have unworthiness conversations, and then also money, right? There's a connection between the two, and those people that are probably it's been really hard for them financially. Um, that right there is not peaceful. People who are afraid of death or getting sick, that's not peaceful, right? There's a lot of suffering in that. But how do we stop the war in our own head? We can't stop the inevitable. Everything is that is, or it wouldn't be. A friend of mine wrote that. Well, why do you think this? Why do you think that? I said, well, there's no, I mean, we could talk about the why, which is fine, but it doesn't really it's not going to help us to move forward. We got to understand some information in the why. We got to say, okay, why this, why that, so that we can make formulated and calculated ideas to move into the how. Okay. If we're in the why, we're like, well, why do you think this happened? And for me, I've done enough. I've read enough. I'm over it, right? I'm over it. We know it is what it is, what it is, what it is, or it wouldn't be. So we know that all these things have happened, right? Now, how do I co create? We've got to learn to quiet the mind, and that part of that starts with your principles. What's going to bring you harmony to you? I know what my harmony is, I found it. Okay, but what about you? Have you found it? Have you found where that place of peace and tranquility exists within you, or you don't have that? The peace and the tranquility that exists within you is okay. You ask yourself, look, am I getting triggered by this? And is it helping me to move forward? I'm like, I don't need any more facts. I know that people are getting sick. I understand that we're in this lockdown. I get it. It is what it is. I can't change it. I don't have a magic switch to turn on the economy again. I don't have a magic switch to get everybody back to where they were financially, the small businesses to be turned back on. People who were not as afraid of death now are super afraid of it. People who were germaphobes are now even worse germaphobes because of what's going on. I don't have the switch to reverse it back, basically. Time, at least us, we don't know how to go back in time. Maybe some people do. I don't. We know that time is moving forward. So we have the facts, and what we can do is we can look at time from a fact-based thing, and we can say, now what? Where do we go from here? How do we move this forward? How do I, with the information I have, quiet the mind so that I can start to make calculated moves, strategic moves? Now, here's the deal. This is the divine, the sacred feminine, and the sacred masculine. We are in the sacred feminine right now. The sacred feminine gives space, right? Gives space. And I was watching Deepak. I don't watch Deepak very often, but I love the way he talks, and I love I love the Indian accent, right? I love my Indian folk, but has a beautiful accent. Anyway, his voice is soothing too. But it was, he's talking about the potentiality. He's talking about space and time and how we experience and where the space is and consciousness and how it works. From the sacred feminine, and this is an easy way for people to try to understand it. Okay, the sacred feminine, if you thought about a woman and you thought about her womb, there's space for something to grow. Okay, we don't know what's going to exist in that space, right? And what I mean by that is, yeah, there's going to be a child that maybe is born into that space. Now, when the child's born, we don't know if it's male or female to begin with. Well, to begin with, it is a female. But at the end result, as the fetus transforms and changes, we don't know if it's going to be a male or a female. We can't choose that. That sort of just happens. Okay. But so the potentiality for either to exist is there. There's a space, an open space. So if you saw life as this open space and what we fill the space in, okay, is what we're actually creating. So I would say take a look at your area. Take a look at what is around you. Take a look at all the things that are in your space and ask yourself, are they serving you? Now, I don't just mean physically, I mean mentally. What is in your mental space? What is in your emotional space? What is in your physical space? Write those down. What's in my physical space? What's in my mental space? Write all of those down and ask yourself, are these things in my space supporting me to be strategic about how I get to move forward with this new situation or not? We can stay stuck in the clouds about the beauty of spirituality, but if no spirit in action it's meaningless. We've got to put some action behind it, right? I'm the kind of person who takes on the information, goes through my process. Once I'm done with the process, I don't continue to go back to that. I start to formulate and create and move forward and focus on what I can create in this moment. Now, I do ask people, here's the deal. Is there anything wrong with staying in the chaos? No. But ask yourself, how long do you need to stay there before you can move forward, before you're not frozen anymore? Give yourself permission to be there. You don't have to jump into it right away. I didn't. And trust me, I went through my process. I was dancing around. I was doing the funky chicken. I was, I got on, talking. I was, wanting things to reopen because I was like, why is this not happening? Good morning, Nicole. Why, I see people suffering even more with their businesses, and then people are, well, it's not about money. No, it's not about money. It's about people actually having food to eat. It has nothing to do with money, but there are basic needs. And right now, money is the way that we get our basic needs met. And some people are not meeting their basic needs. Am I? I'm fine, but I care about other people. I could be like, you know what? I'm fine. Who cares about everybody else? No, that's not me. I care. I actually care about people. I do, like truly to the core. And my first thought was like, what about the addicts? What about people who are addicted to drugs? Where are they at? Where is their mindset? How can I help? Then it's like, well, what about the people that own small businesses? We know that that's pretty much the backbone of where I live. There's a lot of small businesses and boom, overnight gone. Worried about those families. Not because they're not making money, because I'm like, are they able to feed their kiddos? There's some form of compassion. And then along all of this string of everything and all the information that I received, I said, where's God in all this? In me. Where's the power of God in me to dissolve all of conflict, right? And I found compassion. And of course, you guys have your process. When you find that, so when we look at the womb, and it's chaos. There's a bunch of stuff happening. I mean, I don't even know what was the name of the movie. And you could watch what happens, right, when the sperm hits the egg and all of this lightning and I mean, there's a bunch of craziness going on, right? It's not just this beautiful and the sperm's in. No, the sperm's fighting to get into the egg, and there's a bunch of sperm, and it's chaotic. It's not. It's probably looks. It's crazy. What was the name? Anyway, I can't remember. It was with Christy Alley, who's oh, I can't remember the name of the movie. Anyway, they show at the beginning what it looks like, right? They show the sperm and then the egg and then and then you get sick and whatever happens. Okay, so when we look at life as within, so without, think about it. Right now, let's just say we're the womb. Okay, I'm going to put this in a sexual context. I've never done this before, okay? But here we go. Maybe this will help. We're the womb, okay? And we're incubating right now. Okay, we're reprogramming. And there's a ton of sperm that are trying to come into our bubble. So if we were the womb, okay, and all of these things that are trying to come into our space are fighting to get inside, right? Why? Because they want to flower in our subconscious mind. So think of it that way. We're this big bubble of the womb, which is the sacred feminine, and fear is coming to program us. Love is coming to program us. Anger is coming to program us. All of these things, right? These emotional states are fighting to get into the womb. So you can see them as like baby sperms trying to get in, right, to the subconscious mind. They're like, they're fighting their way, right? And then we either allow it in or we don't allow it in. And sometimes we have to hold up our guard to be like, no, but I'm going to let this in. So if you saw yourself as that, if you put yourself in that space of I am the womb, and what sperm am I allowing into my space? Okay. And by that, I mean, which emotional states am I allowing to come into my space? You start to realize what is programming and what is seeding inside of you. What you allow to be seated inside of you will grow from the subconscious mind into the conscious mind, meaning it'll program you in how you interact with the way you perceive the world. What are you allowing to come into your space? You don't just let anybody's stuff come inside of you, right? It's your energy field, it's your bubble. View it as your sacred womb. Now, the chaos happens when we let too much in. You can't let so much in, because then now you're like, what do I do with all this? I don't know where to go. I'm overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed. I don't know what to do. I'm frozen. I'm just going to freeze. Or I'm just, you know what? I'm going to move. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to run away from it. Or, I'm going to fight. I'm going to fight with people. So we have all those response systems instead of saying, look, what am I? Here's what you could be responsible for yourself. What am I allowing into my space? In the chaos, when we find our way back to God, because we allow so much to come in, we allow different things to pollute what we see, how we engage life. We allow those things in. This is where our personal responsibility comes in. Okay, I allowed that in. Yeah, it's true. I did. I allowed it in. Okay, so what? Now what? Okay, now I've got to understand how to be strategic about this information. I know that it's there. I get that it's there. I understand my emotional response to this particular thing. Now what? How do I transmute this energy into energy that I can redirect into something that I can create with, that I can move forward, that I can be strategic, that I can come up with a plan, that I can have foresight, that I can say, now I'm going to move the ball here, because staying stuck in the chaos is not really, it's not supporting me. Staying stuck in the chaos, what is it doing for me? Staying stuck in the chaos is keeping me where I'm at, and I'm not able to actually create the things that I said I was going to create, or do the things that I said I was going to do. So think of yourself as the womb, and think of all of the different media outlets, the people that are talking to you, all of these different stimulus that are coming in. Think of them as sperm trying to come into your womb. Think of it that way. What is it that you want to birth inside your womb? What is it that you want to birth inside of your energy field? Okay. Oh, it's going to draw it out for you. It's like it draw it out for you to kind of show you, right? Like our energy field is this thing. It's the big bubble around us. What information are you going to allow to come into that bubble? That is going to be the seeds that are going to start to grow. Okay. Now, I would say we're not like humans. I mean, some humans can, but um, our energy field is not like a human womb, right? It could be, but I believe it's more like it can seed a bunch of different things, right? In other words, sometimes we get twins out of people, right? Or we get quadruplets or whatever. But I believe that our energy womb can birth a lot of different things. It's so vast, it's so big that we can birth anger, frustration, all of these things, right? Now we always know there's a runt in the litter, right? So when we talk about dogs and stuff, there's always the runt, the one that's not as strong, a little bit weaker. Think about that. What do you want your runt to be? Because it's going to be there. We're going to have the frustration, we're going to have the anger, right? Asking yourself, what is the runt going to be? Is the runt going to be fear? Is the runt going to be anger? Is the runt going to be, I don't know, anxiety? What is the runt going to be in your space? What's going to be the most powerful one? The one that leads, that you allow to lead every single time? What are you leading through? Think about it that way. Just another perspective and way to understand the information. Might give you insight as to what you're allowing, what sperm you're allowing into your energy field. Like, oh, I don't know. I don't think I want that sperm today. Thank you. That's okay. I won't take that energy today. Oh, look at this energy. Absolutely. I'm totally open. Come in. Thank you. Appreciate it. Kind of thing. That is really what our energy is like. Remember, as within, so without. Now, we may not be able to see it, right, visually, um, in the tangible way, but energetically, this is happening all the time, right? Patterns are shifting, things are changing, new potentialities are starting to insert themselves within your energy space all the time. Okay. So ask yourself what you're allowing yourself to birth. Okay. That is the sacred feminine, is the chaos. Once you focus on what you're allowing yourself to birth, you can then start to focus on that. And then when you focus on that, you find some peace and calm in the chaos because you're focused. So chaos and focus, sacred feminine, sacred masculine. The sacred masculine takes the information, the chaos, and finds something, attaches itself, and then focuses in and narrows in on that. Look at science. Science is very masculine principle. It tries to zero in on one thing. It doesn't look at the whole picture sometimes. It narrows in so much that it forgets the whole picture, right? And then we have compartmentalized ideas that don't seem to be talking to each other. Well, they said that tomatoes were good for me. Now they're not good for me. Now they said that this was good for me. Science says that you get cancer from this. Oh, but now you don't get cancer from it. Oh, now you did it. It's constantly shifting. Why? Because they're narrowing in to a point, and then they have to come back out and see it as a whole. And that's really hard to do because we want to pinpoint causation. And causation is not, it's nearly impossible to prove causation. Why? Because in my opinion, God is cause. That's it. There is no other cause. It's all God. And people are trying to find, so when we look at religion and science, trying to answer the same question, is there a God? Neither one can, what they say, well, we can't prove it, nor can we deny it. That's what science says. That's what science tells you. But they're still looking. They're wanting to understand the origin of where we came from, right? They're trying to figure out, where did we come from? What is the smallest potentiality? And they still haven't found it, because the more they look, the more they find. Why? Because consciousness is God. God is consciousness. It's always going to ever evolve. The more we look, the bigger it expands. The more we look internally, the smaller it gets. But we're looking external for answers instead of internal. Okay. Is there anything wrong with that? No. There's nothing wrong with either one of them. That's part of how consciousness works. But there's a whole lot of stories that go behind that. And I get it, because we're human and we're having an experience. And in that experience, it feels like suffering. Okay. I don't allow negative people in my life, nor people that are fake, or they try to do something that, yeah. Only if you allow this up to each individual who they want in their lives. Yeah. So really looking at that, look at who you have in your lives, understanding who's in your space, in your emotional space, physical space. And again, go back and answer those questions that I talked about in terms of your mental, emotional, and physical space. Look at everything around you, okay? Understand, okay? That you understand that, okay? And that you look at your physical space. Are you creating, are you seeing around you what you truly want to see? And if not, what is holding you back from that? Find your peace in the chaos. Right now, there's a lot of chaos. So, finding your peace is finding the thing that settles all conflict and allows you to focus in on what it is you want to create. Okay. Focus in on things you want to create by allowing yourself to find what ends all the conflict in the chaos, calms the storm, allows you tranquility and peace so that you can start to step into creating again. We have the information. We know what happened. Hopefully you've gone through what you've gone through. If it was hard for you to let go of the old paradigm, that you've gone through sort of a mourning phase. And that whatever you're mourning, if you were a business owner or you were a job or you don't have your job, and whatever mourning that you had to do, allow yourself to go through that mourning, release that energy, find the peace that releases all the chaos or conflict. I mean, not releases chaos, but dissolves the conflict within the chaos, and start to focus on what's next for you. That's what's important. The what's next after I go through the storm. How do I bring myself to a place of peace and harmony so that I can be in action again? Okay. And not just freeze and do nothing. That's exactly what I gave always. Done. I totally understand. Okay. So there you go. All right, you guys, there you have it. I love you guys. A little bit of a small audience today, and that's okay, right? It's always good, whoever hears the message, that's what it's for. Whoever, if it's one, two people. So I love you guys. It is Friday, in case you don't know what day it is, because who knows what day it is anymore. And so I love you guys. And I will be seeing you guys on Monday. And we're going to continue on. I'm going to do some more research on, I really want to do the dispositionalism. I think it's a really good subject topic to talk about, and to support you guys in understanding a little bit more of it. Please go look it up. Also, be reading the Kundalini Rising. I love this essay if I can get through it without, talking and talking and talking like I do. um, and then hopefully we can start getting back to the four agreements again. But I really want to support you through the what had happened. It was a big shocker for a lot of people, and I wanted to make sure that my people, thank you, Ivan, are actually, you know, okay. I want to make sure that you guys are doing good. And so, whatever I can do to help, please let me know. You guys are welcome to email me, spiritandbrew@gmail.com. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, you can inbox me a message. Whatever it is that you guys need, please. I really am here for you. I really am here to support you. Okay. Um, I've been around the block a few more times in my life. Yeah, of course. I know. And it keeps going. It's never ending. I'm just kidding. Okay, so I love you guys. Have a great day. And I'll be seeing you guys on Monday. Bye.